Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew, and I'm here with Cliff. As many of you know, I offer services where I help you get into things like help your ability to transact, uh, open offshore bank accounts, set up crypto so you can use it to transact in a private way without anyone interfering. And I'm here with Cliff. Cliff, can you tell us a bit about your
Yeah,
business, what you are
yeah,
doing?
yep. So first off, thanks, Andrew, for making this happen. Those of you watching, I've known Andrew now for maybe 3 years, something like that. And I've been interested ever since I met Andrew in getting Bitcoin ready. I knew nothing about it. I knew there are lots of dangers. I had seen lots of people lose a lot of money not knowing what they're doing. So I need someone who I trusted, and over 3 years, Andrew and I get to know each other very well. And I asked him to help me at least get on sufficiently with Bitcoin so I can accept Bitcoin as payment for my services. And what I do is I work worldwide with different types of neurotechnological devices designed to improve mood, function a whole lot better. And I work with people, like I said, throughout the world. So it was important for me to be able to accept Bitcoin in the safest possible way. And Andrew helped me do that.
So, what for you in your business? What was your main motivation to want to do this? Is it because you were concerned about where the world is headed, or your clients suggest to you that they want to pay in that way, or was it some other reason?
I'm worried about the state of the world, to be honest. And I don't want to be in a situation which I could have anticipated, but then let the opportunity to be able to get independent from institutional sort of bureaucracies. I wanted to be ready for when that moment comes, and I can see it coming closer and closer. October this year, they're talking about rolling out a euro coin and so on. Well, I want to be ready before that happens.
And how do you feel now that you are able to transact with crypto in a private way? Have you already used it? Have your clients paid you in this way, or
No,
not yet?
no, no, not yet, but I'm ready. You got me ready, and here's a small amount that my grandson sent me to get me going. So I've got my wallet, I've got my secret message, and I'm ready to go. So we achieved what I wanted, what I wanted to achieve. I wanted you to walk me through it, and you did. It was perfect. And let me just say, I think if you're watching this, you want to call Andrew. He's excellent. He will take you through what you need to know. Everyone is going to be different. And I know already from conversations I've had with Andrew, no matter what the wrinkles are that you've got, he will be able to walk you through it. So that's why I'm doing it, because I think it's important. Ordinary people like me have got access to experts like Andrew to get through the learning curve and get an on-ramp to Bitcoin and crypto.
This is exactly the point. I think there is a lot of misunderstanding about this topic. A lot of people have perhaps, you could say, a mental block that they don't understand it. They think it's something complicated. They understand it wrong. So it's nice if somebody can show you that it can be simple or help you overcome the steps, even overcome the mental blocks. And it
Yes.
is the same with some of the other work that I do when people are looking to leave their country to go somewhere else, but maybe they've never been anywhere else and they have a mental block against going somewhere. So it's important to have someone who can show you that it can actually be easy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, what I asked Andrew for was an on-ramp. Give me an on-ramp to Bitcoin, and that's what he did.
And how was your experience so far with it?
You made it. Well, I think the first thing you did was you laid out the environment very well, so I could get a sense of all of it, all of the different moving parts. I realized that I didn't need all of the features. What I needed was a wallet. I need to be able to accept payment, and then when the time came for me to then disperse payments, that I'll be in a position to do it. So mine's very, very narrow focus, but I'm guessing a lot of people watching here just want to be able to safely accept Bitcoin and then be able to pay for stuff that they need after that. So I think I'm a pretty good use case.
I think the big part of it is that, I often say in different contexts that with pretty much everything, there is different levels of understanding you can have of the topic. And it's always question of how deep you need to go, because you might not be able to understand everything on a completely full level. Maybe that's not even possible. And perhaps one of the main blocks that people have is that they think that with Bitcoin and private wallets and decentralization, they need to understand everything. And if you try to do that, actually gets very complicated. The mathematics behind it, how it works, for example, why it works, and so on. But to be able to, we are not talking here about investment. We are talking about being able to use it just to make transaction. This is actually very simple, and you don't need that much. You need some basic things so that you don't get scammed, and so you don't make costly mistakes, because in this case, you are your own bank, which has many advantages, but it means you need to be careful and know some basics of what you're doing.
Right.
And this is what I do. I help people overcome these steps.
Yes. I just want to underline what Andrew is saying. I never thought of this as an investment vehicle. I'm not in it to watch Bitcoin shoot to whatever make crazy numbers there are. What I want is a stable money, if you like, that I can pay with. And so I don't need to make it any more complicated than it needs to be. And Andrew's right. There's lots of rat holes to get lost down. Fortunately, Andrew didn't let me go there. No, I'm very, very grateful.
No, we only focus on what is really necessary.
Yes.
And it's really, people should not think about it. It can be, of course, investment, but it doesn't have to be. You can receive Bitcoin and you can sell it right away, and then there's no speculation, no price fluctuations involved. But it means you are able to transact without interference and in a relatively private way, safely.
Yeah. So let's turn the tables a little bit, because, ladies and gentlemen, we have not rehearsed this. So if it looks a bit rough, it's because it is. I'm now going to ask Andrew some questions about what he does and what he offers. So you've got an idea, is this the guy that you want to talk to? So Andrew, how did you get into it, and what is it that you're doing at the moment? And just ramble to help people understand you and what you're offering.
So, well, I think we covered most of the main parts that people need to understand. But the process is basically like the service is that I help them set up everything. I explain, if they don't know what a private wallet is, how it works, how it's different from using a broker or a bank. I help them to set it up in a kind of user-friendly way. And I explain some of the kind of pitfalls that if people don't understand it, they could get scammed or they could accidentally lose some money, how to avoid these. And one of the things that I often stress is that people are worried they're going to make a mistake and maybe it's going to cost them some money. So what I say is, let's put some small amount of money, whatever you consider a very small amount of money, in, and we can practice with that. And then when you see that it works fine, the money is still there, then you can decide how you're going to use it afterwards. Absolutely. So this is a kind of complete training exercise with everything.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm not sure where we take it to next. So why don't we, you had come up with some thoughts about what we would cover. Where do we need to go to from there, from here, would you say?
Well, I think people need to realize that the world is changing quite fast, and it's not, people talk often about risks,
Yeah,
but I say there are different kinds of risks, because
yeah,
you have investment risks. You can think of risk is the bank going to go bust? But then maybe people are used to diversifying in not putting all their assets in a single class, but then often they have all their assets in a single country. And
yes,
nowadays that's getting more and more uncertain.
yes.
So maybe it's time to diversify to other countries, which is what we, by the way, help with as well, like opening an offshore bank account in Georgia, for example.
Yes.
But the nice thing about crypto and private wallets is that it's decentralized. It's not linked to any government or any country. So in that way, it's one of the perfect ways that anyone can do to start with. And you don't even need to put any money there. It's just like you set it up with my help, for example, if you want to, and then you are ready to receive payment if you need it later.
Perfect. Absolutely. Let us just, because people are going to ask you, Andrew, and I don't know what you've landed on by way of price. How should people think about how much they're going to owe you to walk them through whatever their needs are?
So what I do at the moment is that I do this partly, like to work with inflation, but also to teach people about real value of money, and about the real inflation is that I set my prices in terms of a price of gold.
Uh-huh.
So this is kind of the basis, and it means that of course it fluctuates a bit, but if the price of gold goes down a bit, it's perfect for you guys. You get my services a bit cheaper. So at the moment, that would be about 1/10 of an ounce of gold, and that would be the price for this complete setup service with support and everything. And that's about 280 euros at the moment. And if you think about it, it's a very small piece of gold. So, but this is just a kind of like a way to set prices. It doesn't mean that you need to pay in gold. You can pay me in dollars or Bitcoin or whatever. So
I think that's very clever, because like we know, gold has held its value for thousands of years. So I think it's kind of clever for you to say, okay, 1/10 of an ounce of gold will secure my services, and you'll be able to do what I've been able to do with Cliff, and you're there, you're in.
this is the nice thing, because it means I don't need to change my prices all the time. It kind of gives a free training on inflation to people at the same time.
Yes.
And it's a nice thing to think about, because if you think about prices of things, 5-10 years ago, 50 years ago, and you look at prices of gold, you realize that there is no, like people often say that, the food is becoming crazy expensive, or real estate is crazy expensive. Well, if you measure it in gold, it's not. It's more or less the same price as it was. It's just your currency is going somewhere, I don't know where, into the bin, I guess. So,
Now,
but I mean, we're not here to discuss, like
no.
what people should put their money into, but it's more like something to think about for